Ekadeshma, there was a young boy who grew up in a very loving home. The best thing about his childhood, early childhood, was his preschool. He went to that preschool in a small yellow van. That van had Mrs. Nima in it. She used to hold his hand, comfort him while taking him to school. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. This is a story about the first half of my life. So there I was in my pre-primary school, happy, enjoying, and playing. Those were the days I vividly remember. The preschool was very small and the classroom very cozy. We just had a few people in there. And the best part of it was it always smelled like milk and cookies. It was such a happy place. But as Ekadeshmas go, with good times comes bad. And my bad time started when I moved out of the preschool to my school in class 1. Going to school from a yellow bus van to a big gray bus changed drastically my outlook on the school itself. The bus was jammed packed with other students, and there was no Miss Nima to hold my hand. The school was so big, and there were more than 1,000 people in there. And you know what? The most intimidating thing for me was the classroom. My God, the classroom. It was so big. The walls were so far apart, and I could barely see the board, which was stuck on the wall. And unfortunately for myself, I realized that this was an issue I faced alone. After a couple of checkups and follow-ups, I realized that I needed glasses and that I had to do a patch therapy. And given that a child was given the gift of sight for the first time in his first 6 years of his life, he must have been happy, right? No. In fact, the glasses and the badge brought on ragging from his fellow classmates. This ragging continued so much so that it lasted throughout his school life. And it was not just from his friends. I even faced ragging from the teachers, not the way you might imagine it. The way that even when I was sitting in the first bench, I could not see the board and had trouble catching up. I know it sounds like an excuse, but it was very difficult with these eyes. And I started failing miserably. There was even a time when I failed four subjects, four subjects out of total of 12 subjects. The only subject I passed was in English. And that was how my life was. And you can be supportive, you can be helpful at home, but given the state of my school, of what I faced there at school, my confidence slowly chipped away, little by little. A confident, happy, smiling kid who loved his preschool had nightmares about going to his school. Somehow or the other, I managed to drag myself through the year of the Iron Gate to class 10. And that was by far the most challenging time of my life. That was the peak of my depression and the challenges that I faced. That was the year I still remember that after hearing years and years of being called dumb, being called stupid, being called not academically gifted, I started to believe it myself. I even called myself a good for nothing. My confidence was zero. Then something happened. My mother came to me and she told me, Rahul, it's okay if you don't want to study. It's okay if you can't study, but at least, at the bare minimum, just attempt your SLC. Just cross your SLC. Just pass SLC. And that was it. That was the light at the end of the tunnel, the end of my troubles. And I could almost see a life without school, and I was happy. And just like how Rocky, before a huge fight in the climax, used to skip ropes and climb up the stairs, I too walked every morning at 5 a.m. to my tutor's house because that was the only time he was free. Just like Rocky, who went to the gym and trained, I too woke up at 5 and studied continuously till 11. The progress was not imminent. It was not immediate. It took time, but slowly my F's turned into D's, my D's turned into C's. And like this, finally, the day of the SLC results came. And you know what? From my school, there were 10 students who failed. And the top guess on who failed was Rahul Shrestha. He definitely could not have passed. But you know what? My name was not on the list of the failed students. So Rahul must have barely gotten a second division, and they checked. Rahul's name was not there. Then Rahul must have gotten a distinction. No, I told you my improvement was gradual. So I just got a first division, but that meant the world to me. That became the first step to regaining back my confidence. The moral of the story, can anyone guess? Mothers can lie to their sons. I was told I did not have to study after SLC, but I studied for 8 more years. And now I am confident and ready to take up any challenges, even if it's just 2 days before delivering this speech. Thank you. Over to you, TM1.